I think before anything else, I'll just kind of lead with the obvious question. We are, obviously we all feel like Rajon had a tremendous impact. I'm understating it, stating the obvious here, that he had a tremendous impact on this organization, the city, certainly as a championship member of the Celtics. And, I think to a man in that locker room, and the coaching staff and the players, certainly wish him nothing but the best. I had a chance to talk with him briefly last night. Certainly wish him well. It's the hardest part between being a pro coach and a college coach, where you kind of know the timeline when they're going to leave, and you can mentally prepare yourself for that. And sometimes in the pros and with trades and those type of things, you can't prepare as well. From our standpoint, we look at it more as when somebody is traded more as the person than the basketball player, and so it's so certainly that's an emotional time anytime, and we wish not only Rajon but Dwight and Vitor as well, certainly all the best. That kind of became a numbers game by taking obviously 3 guys back. We're excited to welcome Jameer, Brandan, and Jae. All 3 very well thought of people on a team that can help the team not only on the basketball court but in who they are as individuals. All 3 come highly recommended as people and as competitors and as basketball players, and we hope to continue to build, and then that's what we want to do. But most importantly, and certainly the question that I've been asked over and over and over already by most people that don't print it, is we wish Rondo nothing but the best, and are really thankful for what he meant to this organization.
Brad, just how do you keep the rest of the team from not having a letdown now that their best player is not on the team anymore?
Well, first of all, they're pros, and when we came together this morning, we talked about how appreciative we all were of Rajon, and we talked about that this is our team, and we have a game tonight, and we have to compete, and I expect those guys to do so. Can you accurately gauge the emotions of tonight for those guys prior to the game? No. Do you know exactly how those will play out throughout the course of the game? No. But I think that from our standpoint, what we have to focus on are, again, we're thankful and appreciative, and I think we all recognize that for his contributions. And then we have to focus on the team in the locker room, and we have to focus on playing our best that we can. We're going to be a little bit different in some ways, but we've got guys that are good basketball players, and our guys are looking forward to competing. I'll be surprised if they don't compete.
Brad, I know Rajon has said from time to time that he wanted to stay. But did you ever get a sense that maybe he was a little divided?
Never. Not from him. No, he was, he was, whether in practice, whether games, whether organizing, team meals with or without the staff, he never looked disengaged, and credit to him. He was always a part of the team and wanted to be a part of the team, and did his best. Again, it's part of the reasons why we're so appreciative of what he meant to the whole group.
Brad, what do you think about the point guard spot now, especially with Jameer coming in, and then specifically, is Marcus ready to take on a bigger role when he's healthy?
Well, Marcus has to be healthy first. I think the number one key is he has to be available before he can be named a starting or a heavy minute point guard. Obviously, when he's been healthy, he has been that, and he has been pretty good. How we're going to go about that, I don't know yet. It's not set in stone. We have other capable guys too, in Evan Turner and Phil Pressey, and we'll go from there. I don't want to. This is you know, he still has to progress at the rate he needs to progress. And number one is he needs to get fully ready and fully healthy, which he is available tonight. But number two is then once you're available multiple games in a row, what's your consistency level like? How are you performing? How are you going game plan to game plan? There's so much we really don't know because he's never played more than 4 game stretch in a row right now.
Is he available tonight?
Yes.
Brett, you guys went through a couple like extended late game stretches where, you know, situations where Rondo would normally be in there that he wasn't in there. How much of that was, I don't know, like knowledge or a feeling that he might not be here pretty soon? You want to just
Zero. Yeah. You know what I was, it's what I was actually thinking about is the one thing that this team, and it's really hard anytime you lose a guy of his caliber. There's no question about it. But the one thing that this team maybe able to lean back on is, we were most of the preseason, that was our team. And so, these guys have been able to practice even by throwing some guys into some roles that they haven't played in a couple of weeks, like an Evan playing the point some. He's at least familiar with it somewhat. But those late game situations, like absolutely zero. Like I said in Washington, I didn't think that was all that hard of a decision to ride the bench. I mean, they were rolling, and there's also a part of you, like as a basketball person, that just wants it so bad for them to figure out a way to get it done because of how they inspired everybody else. And so, no, I didn't. I mean, that has nothing to do with that. And I think that was the only time that I can remember, at least.
Brett, what do you say to Celtic fans who see that you have traded your best player and now are thinking either you guys are tanking or what kind of team you're going to throw out there and you guys are not going to be competitive? What do you say to fans now in terms, because it's obvious you might have taken a step back in the rebuild?
Yeah, well, first of all, this team is going to prepare every day to win the game. And there is a group in there right now that I can tell is, and I told you again, I don't know exactly how the motions will play themselves out tonight, but that is ready to compete. And there has to be some ownership taken and some verbal leadership taken over by some of our younger guys that may or may not be considered old enough to do that. But that's the situation we're in. And hey, again, I think the deal is this is our team, and this is how we're getting ready to win every single night. And we are building every single night to be the best that we can be tonight, tomorrow, the next night, and it never is going to stop. And I think that I'm excited about the guys in the locker room, Gary. Time will tell how we do, but I'm excited about the guys we have.
Brett, how much do you have to change your style of play and the system you're running offensively since you're going to have a different guy running the ball?
I think the biggest thing is it doesn't change the system a whole lot. It may change some matchups defensively. You may play a little bit less high pick and roll in the near term until Jameer gets up to speed. You may play, with a few less actions that were just for him or were kind of catered to him out of timeouts. But it's not going to change the way generally we want to play, and that is to continue to get the ball up the court and play with, spacing and movement and together on offense. And then defensively, I think we've got to be even more locked in on now becoming, if we're going to be the best we can be, we have to be a better defensive team than we've been.
One final question, Gary.
And that better defensive team than we've been overall, because we've been pretty good in the last, I don't know how many weeks.
One other thing, Gary, just a reminder for Coach Saunders, if you need him, he's out on the court by his closed game.
Brett, where are the guys now? When do you expect them to play?
All 3 are here. They're all going through and finishing up physicals. None of them will play tonight.
And what kind of role do you have for Brandan and for Jameer?
Well, I think all 3 of them have roles on this team, and I think we'll determine the extent of those as I get my arm wrapped around everything more. You know, last night was more about getting to know everybody and also saying goodbye. Today has been get our team ready in the morning and get ready for this game, and just trying to continue to coach through a season, right? And you know, we'll figure out how this team fits together as we move forward. But they're three guys that add to our team. I mean, Jameer Nelson's a guard that can really shoot the ball, that has scored and has been a consummate leader, and everybody talks about the kind of person he is. I mean, former coaches, players, no matter what. You know, Jae Crowder is a guy that we think has a big upside, can shoot the ball, has shot it better this year, shooting at almost 35% from three, and is a guy that can guard both the 3 and the 4 and even some 2s on occasion, and is a tough guy, just a competitive tough guy. And obviously Brandan, you know, Brandon's a guy that, you know, this is kind of how my job works in communicating with our front office, that, you know, after we play a game, maybe I'll say, man, I think he's really undervalued because of the way that he gets to the rim, the way that he finishes, and I think his second jump on rebounds is as quick as anybody's around. And so, you know, we'll figure out how they all fit within what we're trying to do, and how we can fit ourselves to best accentuate them. So, again, I'm excited about the guys that are in the locker room, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of emotions we have, but